The Grove. Up until recently, this scheduled location deep in the heart of the living island known as Krakoa had regularly been filled with the chatter of mutant leaders heatedly debating for the future of their nation and their people. But when the time stream entanglement ripped Krakoa from its original timeline and displaced it into the far future, many of mutant kind's most prominent voices ended up scattered across the ages. The hush that fell over the grove in the days that followed was thicker than the island's humid tropical air. But as the mutants who still called Krakoa their home had come to learn so many times before, nothing lasts forever. The qu- the quiet the qu- the quiet council of Krakoa now summons forth the White Queen of the Hellfire Trading Company. Magneto's powerful voice boomed, cutting through the silence of the grove like a sword. And so the trial and so begins the trial of Emma Frost. The White Queen sighed, stepping forward out of the shadows. Her diamond skin glistened through the countless strategically placed openings in her fashionable ensemble. No need for drama, Emma, Storm said, taking her seat at the quiet council's table of summer. You, you know full well that we have gathered here tonight on your behest to you are on your behest to consider your proposal. And what an impressive turnout. Emma mused sarcastically, looking at the empty seats in front of her. Where once where once there had been 12 members of the Quiet Council, now only 3 remained: Storm, Magneto, and Emma herself. And while Emma was convinced that her idea was truly a brilliant one, this time her vote would not be counted. She would have to convince the other 2 members of the Quiet Council to side with her. And she knew far better than to use her natural born telepathic abilities in an effort to sway their opinions. Luckily for Emma Frost, persuasion was not an art form. Long before she became a crusader for mutant rights. She had used her skills of seduction and negotiation to rise through the ranks of the Hellfire Club, making her one of the wealthiest and most powerful women in the world. She had learned through experience that there was always a way to get what she wanted, and this night would be no different. As you know, the Hellfire Gala, Emma began before being abruptly cut off by Magneto, is a waste of our time, the Master of Magnetism finished. Krakoa is Krakoa Krakoa is in crisis, Miss Frost. We have been transported across time and space to an unfamiliar era that seems keen on reminding mutant kind of just how unwelcome we are in the world of man. We have lost so much of our brethren, tossed to the corners of unknown realities, and yet you wish to spend our resources to throw one of your garish parties? I think not. First, Emma replied, choosing her words carefully as she responded to Mutant Kind's current leader. My parties are anything but garish, darling. They are the height of extravagance. Emma wasn't lying. Ever since she first revived the historic Hellfire Gala as an annual event on Krakoa, this no expenses spared celebration had become the hottest ticket on the planet. From superheroes to political heavyweights, if you didn't make it onto the guest list, then you simply weren't living up to your full potential. Emma had curated every aspect of past galas, from the food to the fashion, but the plans for our next event had been put on pause after Krakoa's unexpected change of address in space and time. Now was her chance to change that. Second, she continued, the gala is an opportunity to show this new world that mutants are here and we are not going anywhere. A debut ball of sorts. I believe Wolverine has already made everyone well aware of our presence, Magneto said, the frustration in his voice quite evident. Logan was just doing what he thought was right, Storm interjected. He meant no harm. But Magneto is correct, Emma admitted. When Wolverine decided to ally himself with the human resistance, he got caught up in a series of events that cast all eyes on Krakoa in a less than favorable way. His little stunt at Alchemax may have even saved Captain America's life, but it branded Logan an outlaw according to the public eye, and made him an enemy of both Doom and the Megacorps that control all aspects of this society. And though they were the actions of just one mutant, all of our reputations were damaged in the process. That's a bit harsh. Storm responded, desperately trying to defend one of her closest allies in the eyes of the Council. But you're not wrong. What Logan did was reckless. Reckless, perhaps, Emma agreed. But even the most ill-advised strategies often open up unexpected pathways to victory. Alchemax has lost countless lawsuits against Krakoa and has imposed unexpected sanctions, Magneto argued. Tell me, woman, how does this lead us to a victory? We have something Alchemax does not, Emma replied. Medicines that actually work. As you both know, our flowers of Krakoa have been proven to work miracles in fighting both human and mutant diseases. They yield 10 times the results of Alchemax's best-performing medications, with none of the nasty side effects. And now the entire world has full access to them. Just take a look at the report in front of you. It says here that the Hellfire Trading Company has just signed independent deals with 70 nations to distribute our biopharmaceuticals. It says here the trading company. Storm said, shocked by what she was reading. It says here. And that number will only grow once word gets out about how safe and effective the flowers of Krakoa actually are, Emma responded. You've directly targeted a sector that accounts for 60% of Alchemax's business, Magneto said, his temper beginning to flare. That's akin to declaring war. History has proven that this is the kind of war I always win, Emma responded. As a result of my deal, Alchemax's stock has plummeted. Their board has already dropped dozens of lawsuits, and the sanctions won't be far behind. The humans will not sit idly by and watch mutant kind steal away their fortunes, Magneto warned. Oh, I am well aware of that fact, Emma laughed. Alchemax has already hired outside forces to sabotage our efforts. At best, they hope to sink our Hellfire Trading Company ships and destroy our precious cargo. At worst, they're willing to contaminate the waterways and blame Krakoa for the biological unhealed, but they won't achieve either one of those outcomes. How can you be so certain of that? Storm asked. Because I have been on board the Marauder every time she has set sail with a shipment, Emma said, and I have fought off their pathetic attempts myself. As it turns out, the mercenaries in this day and age aren't built nearly as sturdy as they used to be, physically or mentally. And when I read their minds and discovered that their services were subcontracted through the public eye, this this era's all-seeing, all-knowing police force, well, you can only imagine the amount of blackmail material that I suddenly had on our would-be oppressors. I doubt that they'll be making any more moves against us in the foreseeable future. I'll admit, Emma, Storm said. I'm impressed. You've consistently been a step ahead of those attempting to oppose us. Then let me be a step ahead of those who will be willing to support us as well, Emma replied. The Hellfire Gala is more than just a chance to reward our existing partners with a lavish evening and dancing and dining. It's a much-needed opportunity to forge new strategic alliances that could strengthen Krakoa's place in this world. This may be our best chance to claim our seat at the table. And yet, Magneto said, looking at the vacant chairs of the quiet council chamber, we can barely fulfill our own. The Hellfire Gala could change that as well, Emma insisted. Raising Krakoa's visibility, making our island part of the conversation in the world beyond its shores, could serve as a beacon to help bring our missing people back home. But it could also lead more dangerous factions directly to us as well, Magneto argued. It certainly could, Emma admitted, but with every hero from across reality gathered here for the festivities, I have a feeling we will be able to take on anyone foolish enough to crash the party. You have never th- you have never done things in the most orthodox of ways, Emma, Storm said. But you have always had the best interests in mutant kind at heart. If you truly believe another Hellfire Gala could make a difference for our people, I will take you at your word. You have earned my vote. Then it seems the future of mutant kind lies in your hands, Magneto said. Magneto. Then it seems the future of mutant kind lies in your hands, Magneto, Emma said with a playful smile. As it has so often before. Clearly I have my reservations, Miss Frost, Magneto said. But your actions thus far have proven that you are ready and willing to face any challenges that may arise. You have the blessing of this council to proceed with your gala. Do not make me regret my vote. With that, Magneto and Storm stood and exited the grove, leaving Emma behind quietly to celebrate her victory. She sat in her chair at the table of the winter, reserved for those members of the Quiet Council with more radical ideologies, and kicked her white leather platform-heeled boots onto the table as she leaned back and reveled in the moment. But she knew she didn't have long to savor the moment. There were so many plans to be made. Before Emma departed from the grove, she heard a sound inside her head, a deep rumbling, a voice calling to her in an unintelligible language. She turned back to gaze upon the giant face of Krakoa itself, which had manifested on the giant tree at the center of the quiet council chamber. Emma walked over and put a gentle hand on the tree's surface. "Don't worry, dear," she said. "I haven't forgotten about you. I know you've been suffering since your trip through the time stream, but if all goes as planned, your pain will come to an end soon enough. I know the perfect person to help you. A very special doctor. Let's just keep that fact between you and me for the moment. As Emma Frost began to walk away, she turned back and held her index finger to her lips, signaling for Krakoa to remain silent. Because if the Quiet Council knew our little secret, they would have never voted yes.